Okay, week 4 of land trains. We're gonna dive into the basic demo setup to show off some of the features, and then we'll switch to some gameplay when we walk through some of the detail. So, we actually have treasures collecting. Yay! And you'll see that these little blocks spawn. Well, first thing I talk about is we collected 4 boxes, which meant we got an extra wagon. Um, we also have more obstacles on the map. So you can see like there's like raised woods and raised hills. There's a border around the map. If you run into those things, they will start to explode. You saw a little red target thing appear ahead of the train. The little red target thing ahead of the train was I call them hazards. They were fired by the big ant with the gun strapped to his back. We'll take a look at it in a second. And if you run into this, you get a game over. If you eat your trail, you get a game over. And that does a whole lot of display this little box. Anyway, so yeah, updates to the UI, updates to the gameplay, pretty good. Let's take a quick look at Godot. So this is the new enemy introduced. It is an ant with a gun strapped to its back. Thanks for everyone who uploads free models. I'll actually probably start working on putting in some credits just so that I keep track of all the places I get free assets. The gun's a free asset. This is from Kenny, and this is a free asset. But yeah, I want to make sure I actually give credit to people who built these stuff. We're going to change from target dummy mode to the real game. And let's take a quick look at what the actual gameplay experience looks like at this point. Which helps if you save. Go to this one, save it. Go back to Visual Studio. And alright. So yeah. The road generation code is a little bit different. It now has these holes at the end. That will make sense next week when we have hopefully a third enemy type showing up. The bugs are a little bit slower. They are doing stuff. Here you start seeing these hazards appearing ahead of the train. If you right now, like, these hazards do like 25 damage, the little bugs do like 2 or 3 points of damage. All of those numbers will need to be worked out at some point in the future. You can see that we're collecting boxes. We are currently at full health because we're not doing anything stupid, and we are killing most of the enemies we are encountering. Now we're starting to get to the point where we get some hits from hazards, and you'll see that we are now at 150 health. The fact that I have to narrate this and you can't actually visually see it means that I have to revisit that system. And you can also notice that our train is starting to become significantly longer. So yeah, I'm super excited about this hazard setup. I think it needs a little bit of work. You see our FPS is now at 45. Very exciting. We have 141 enemies on the map. We definitely need to introduce some different weapons or other things to improve matters over time. But overall, this is starting to become gameplay adjacent. Right, you kind of have to, at this point, the whole point is like, can you do enough damage to go into these areas? And can you keep in mind that you don't want to eat your own tail, which is becoming an issue once your actual land train becomes this long. but the number of bugs in the map is starting to also go up rapidly. Although we're also still killing them fast enough, so the number of enemies really stays stable-ish. And our hit points, you know, we're still like 250 hit points-ish. And that is after all the increases in health that we've gotten from just having a longer train. And of course, the longer train, it increases your maximum health. It also increases the actual DPS that your train has, because more wagons is more pew pew. So yeah, kind of excited. Definitely FPS 9, doing great. This is part why we have to do some refactoring, pull stuff off the UI thread, and of course there has been no optimization whatsoever on the other aspects of the game. But it's, you know, getting to the point where it is more interesting than Snake. Once you get to this length though, you'll also notice that like our health is going up pretty rapidly. Just the flat amount of damage being output is starting to become an issue. Okay. And yeah, every few boxes. Oh, we had an obstacle, so it's game over. Yeah, doesn't do anything yet. But you can kind of get the idea. It's getting very, it's becoming Snake. Right, we're getting to a point where, other than the FPS part, we are getting to a more engaging gameplay experience than Snake. So I'm actually super happy about where we're at. Lots of things stop working at this point, so we're going to stop it. Let's talk about the other improvements. Most of them are probably seen. Coins are collecting, treasure collecting. Right now, as soon as you collect 4 treasure chests, you get another wagon. Get another wagon, your maximum health goes up, and on top of that you heal a little bit. So right now you get 25 max health and you heal 25 points. Small bugs are no longer teleporting. Small bug speed is more reasonable. Train speed is more engaging. We auto-spawn wagons. Fixed an issue where you very easily did unintentional double turns. Yeah, you have the score on the top. You have some general better information. The user interface just looks way better. And you have some different game over states, which don't do anything. And we introduced a new enemy type, which is the mortar bug. And the mortar bug, when it shoots, it places a little reticle 3 spaces in front of your train. If you don't turn before you hit that, you take right now 25 damage. I don't know any of these numbers. Need to work about it. Maybe I'll just create like a giant list of like hearts. Actually, I'm seriously considering doing that. Next week. Carrying over some bugs like the targeting, shooting lines, mortar bug teleports. Like these are just probably small issues, but not necessarily quick. Shooting lines need a curve. I'll put that under the features. Respect block squares for targeting. Shouldn't be terrible. Refactoring targeting to be on another thread. I think this is going to be a very necessary refactoring, because I think it is a main driver as to why the FPS goes to shit. If you have 150 enemies, thereabouts, and you have a train that's 50 items long, the train does a lot of seeking and tracking of targets, because every one of those little turrets is spinning to try and aim at a target, and then there's a separate loop that fires the gun a few times a second. And to figure out what they're shooting at, they're looking at what's close to me. So you're kind of looking at like RTS, well, baby RTS AIs to figure out what the hell is going on. Some of these things I want to do on the UI thread, right? Because the stuff on the UI thread will be accurate. Some stuff I don't want to do on the UI thread because, I mean, the rotation of the turret and targeting is a visual thing. I don't want it to use the UI thread to figure out where to rotate to. I want to put that on another thread. Bug movement can be another thread as well. So, you know, kind of reduce the load on the UI thread. I think that's going to help out a lot in FPS. Total hypothesis, I don't know. I want to create a scene changer, so when it's game over, it's actually game over, and you have a little intro, user interface type of deal. I'd like to start creating a credits thing, so I can start keeping track of all the free assets. Like right now it's in a text document, but just put those in there so I can show what assets I got from who, along with whatever attributions that they require. And I'm going to implement the earthworm, which is going to be the third enemy type, and it's going to behave a lot like another snake. We'll figure out what's going on, but it's going to come out of the ground and it's going to leave those road networks. So effectively, that what you saw as the road network with the little start and end points, yeah, it's canny tower defense. But I'm going to repurpose it as gigantic earthworm tracks. And earthworms are not going to have much ability to hurt you, other than get in your way, and if you run into them, then it will do a bunch of damage. If you kill it, it will disappear underground. If you don't kill it, or you kill it by running through it, it will not disappear on the ground and will leave its body behind as an obstacle. And yeah, that's gonna be kind of the gameplay concept behind earthworms. So heavy damage on collision and leaves body parts on collision. So that's my goal for the next week. We'll see how it goes. Life has been amazing. Beginning of the year up until Tuesday. And then life hasn't been quite as amazing since then, so hopefully this will still go well. But if nothing else, we have a actual... It's getting to the point where it is gameplay adjacent. I think that adding the earthworm in gives me 3 basic enemies that all interact differently. I can then... I think the next thing to do after that from a gameplay perspective is to add a type of boss battle. And I think that brings me to the point where I'll probably make the project public. I mean, I'm sure some of you people get to see this early, but actually like make them not unlisted videos and things like that. So yeah, decent progress. Hope to be at the point where all this is going to be public. Right now it's the beginning of February, so beginning of March. We'll see how things go. Oh, that's useless.